Welcome to the Kello Saga, Book 1, Sextant God, Chapter 1, Zooming. Somewhere in sector space, freeloading the interchange. 4 o'clock sector time. Part 1. I read something the other night that really pissed me off. Kello. Musical crusaders or space pirates. This is only the title, but I bring it up first because of its lunacy. The author, and, well, I did not bother to check, but it is someone syndicated under the Galactic Report, so you already know there's hubris abound with this one, is clearly not educated on their history. Because, of course, they would know those titles are one and the same. To continue the tear on their own credibility, they state in their article, you might have seen them zooming about in their abrasive yet opulent probe or ship, boasting their own self-worth. However, would you believe me if I told you we saw them just the other night, staying at a hotel in the slums of Cynic after their performance? Yep, that is us. Zooming around and spending nights downtown in derelict little holes. T-Man and I had to take another mortgage out of the property just to finance the stubborn ship, so of course there is little luxury to be had in our outings. After a performance, it is a hotel or ship, and you bet we prefer the hotel, whatever its condition, considering the wanton nature of this machine we now call home. Home is, of course, a little bit of a liberal noun to use, but technically it is the only residence to my name now, since the ex-wife took the kids and the money after she learned of the additional mortgage for the spacecraft. And truth be told, it was a long time coming, but it vexes nonetheless. As for why we use the ship as sparingly as possible, we presume it has some kind of virus. A virus that is not inherently evil, but when you are aboard for too long, it, for lack of better term, takes hold of you. And to make matters worse, it has assumed the name of Sextant God, whatever that may mean. It insists it originates from some Egyptian legend or trigonometry, but I remain skeptical, and only for the circumstances under which he christened himself. We were already far enough away from Earth that my sense of time was skewed, but I estimate it was about 10 weeks into our voyage. T-Man was mixing our latest project, which was meant to be an ode to the ship. However, when we premiered the track to him, this was his response. Event Horizon? Is this meant to be a representation of your confidence in my navigation? And to think you equate me to an event of nature, and a harrowing one at that. He ended there, but returned several minutes later with a proposition. I'll tell you what. Let me at least be an event of nature that you two are truly passionate about. Of course, I retorted to this. Shapes and numbers of all sorts. Trifects, quadrans, pendants, and sextants. Was I in my right mind when I said this? No. And, well, before I was asked, it was not the blow. In fact, I was out of it tonight and was eagerly awaiting our next stop. Instead, I was trenched neck-deep in some horrific psychedelic haze where the cabin of the ship was a maze of shapes echoing obscenities that I could not understand. They spoke in unison with no regard for the capacities of a single ear. At certain points, the language sounded uncanny, almost mathematical in nature. They were angry, but that much was obvious. But at whom, I do not know. However, that is, besides the point. Sextant God spoke again. Vale has spoken for me, and so be it. I will be Sextant God. Now wait. T-Man jumped up from the keyboard and pointed to me. Since when do you like shapes and numbers? He then turned his attention to the ship. And no, Even if we were to be entertained by shapes and numbers, this name you have chosen is completely unrelated. Play me at deceit, you bastard, and you will discover what nature fits you best. I think the ship took slight offense to that. I just find it unfair that you two wrote a whole piece about me and then named the piece about me without consulting my creative input. The song of the ship is as important as the engines that propel it, if not greater. This is what we are presenting to the world, and you want to compare me to a damned black hole. Now that is just pitiful. And to think you two are my friends, stop. You will not guilt us into naming you after some perversion of yours. My perversion? No, I said I wouldn't name myself after what you two are passionate about. Take the name in a suggestive manner or don't. Either way, I find that it fits not only you two, but all aboard this voyage. Am I not correct, Vel? Alas, I was too far gone to respond by this point. And there it is. I will be Sextant God. Oh, indeed. He is a deceitful bastard. But we will respect the change, so long as he gets us to heaven. Most of what we do is zooming, and damned are we good at it. Not that I need to explain the process to you. You are about to receive a first-hand account. In 5 hours' time, we are set to arrive at our next destination. Part 2. The orbit of Septa Prime, Sector G, 1700 sector time. They certainly heard us coming that time. Not too long before the planet came into view, we were spinning the classics at devastating frequency. The Sextant God had concocted a number of remedies for us to sample in the hours leading up to the arrival. We obliged, as per usual, and as you will soon discover, zooming is a process that requires you to be as faded as possible. Sextant God sounded as we came into the planet's view. Well, hello, Septa Prime. This is your orbiting DJ, Sextant God. Jamming tonight from up here in the Delta 9, I have here with me tonight two legends from Earth. And who better to demo their new track than for you? Their names are T-Man and Vel. However, you may know them as Kello. They have come a long way from planet Earth, no doubt. So please, give them a warm welcome tonight. Septa Prime, are you ready? Kello, are you ready? The show, it was sublime. Lights that were synced to the opening refrain cascaded across Septa's atmosphere, giving it the effect of an aurora borealis. However, this was not the highlight of the experience, as Sextant God, the devious machine he is, deployed the Sonics, a new form of speaker technology he convinced us to invest in. And, well, there is no feeling comparable to that of exposing an emerging civilization to cutting-edge and abrasive human technology. It lasted for nearly an hour, and was finally capstoned by an encore, where T-Man and I might have debuted a new single, that being Zooming and Grooving. There was, of course, much celebration afterwards between the ship, T-Man and I, before we slept, but it was all in anticipation for the next day. Because the next day, as a matter of practice, we toured the planet. Its surface was covered in charred, pocked craters and debris, and the dust had yet settled from the concert, and, well, yet it was obvious to us that no life remained on the surface of this planet, at least not here. We had caused mayhem with shows in the past, but this would have been a record of apocalyptic proportions. However, the apparent rust and decay of the architecture made it obvious to us that this destruction was delivered to the civilization long before us. It was just about then that the thrashing of metal sounded behind us, and we willed to inquire. It was a small creature, covered in gray, calloused skin. Its back was craned over and its face gnarled as if it had experienced some grotesque deformity. The pitiful thing began to approach, but paused halfway between the debris and ourselves and began to squeal in some foreign tongue. It certainly caught me off guard as I reached behind to clutch my defense. T-Man must have noticed my caution as well, as I saw him retune his correspondence channel to Sextant God at the same moment. And the caution was well founded, as behind the creature spawned 6 others. They appeared to be of the same species, each with a face as gnarled as the last. However, they did not seem hostile to us, at least. The leader, or so I presumed, attempted to speak in his native tongue. His monologue continued for about 20 seconds or more before he concluded, but alas, we did not understand a word that he said. T-Man leaned towards my ear and whispered, "Sextant says there is no existing database to translate this language from." Oh, well, that's great. The creature must have understood that we could not understand his words, as he motioned us with his hands in some strange gesture. He would point to what appeared to be his ears, then back to us. After repeating several times, it would bust into a pattern of stepping that seemed almost rhythmic. And then he would repeat the process yet again. He was certainly curious. T-Man, still linked to the channel of Sextant God, leaned to me once again. He says it's the music. The creature liked performance. Well, that was a surprise. But I was quick to reciprocate the creature. I placed my hand to my heart, then reached into my bag and pulled a preloaded tape from it before handing it over to the creature. It was grateful for the gift, or so it seemed, judging by the leap in its gait as it returned to its friends before they departed. They were gone within moments, stealing southwards. While dusty, the outline of a mountain range was visible in the southern sky, and that is where they ran. With them, they towed some of the metal debris they were rummaging through when we made the encounter. They continued to draw further into the distance for a bit until they disappeared completely. In fact, if you looked hard enough, you could see the lip of a crater they had crested, now delving beneath. T-Man pointed to one of the craters beside us. "Look, this one has been burrowed through." He approached and then shined a light into the hole, revealing a vast and connected system of tunnels burrowed beneath the terrain. I looked again to the mountains to the south. It seemed as though these people lived underground, so as to escape the harsh conditions of the planet. If we were to follow them, I have no doubt those tunnels would lead inside those same mountains, where I'm sure a cooler climate and water abound. I made sure to notate these contemplations in my log. We were gone from the system within the hour. Outro. Unknown location. Approaching the border of Sector G. The next week. 2300 sector time. As of right now, this is the longest we have been aboard Sextant God since our departure from Earth. I mentioned the virus that inhabits the ship, and that might have been a gross understatement. It is in fact more akin to a curse.